Drop down, let the top of the head float up. Feel some space in your neck. Drop the head down over to your left side. Nice neck stretch and breathe. While you're here, start to take a moment, set your intention. Intention to release some stress, to heal, to strengthen, whatever that is for you. Switch sides. Good. Drop the arms from there. Make a few circles with your head. One direction. And then opposite direction. Good. Back to the center. Some of those shoulder rolls. Forward and back, forward and back. Good. Opposite direction. Good. And then arms up from there. Interlace the fingers. Turn the palms to the ceiling. Straighten the arms. Turn them up. And stretch the shoulders. Oh. Breathe. It's a great little hike this weekend with my family. It's so fun to have the kids really enjoy the outdoors. And it's funny too because Madison is such a Barbie fanatic. But she's got all her Barbies and her American Girl dolls fold over to one side. And literally she will eat lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever at our table, and she'll say, wait, I need to set up my audience. And she will take like 6 or 8 dolls and set them up, and they'll watch her eat. It is hysterical what these kids come up with. Switch sides. Meanwhile, Liam, who's Madison is, if you didn't know, is turning 5 in a month, and Liam is a year and a half, and he's meanwhile like taking his trucks and going like driving, like playing bumper cars with his trucks. It's really funny. Back to the center, lean back, take a big inhale, and then fold down forward as you exhale. Hang forward here and breathe. Drop the head, stretch. Make sure that's working. Okay. So good, smooth, even breaths in and out of your nose. You drop the head down, you can grab the elbows. This is kind of our first hamstring stretch. And with our topic, so we're also streaming today with the Malibu Half Marathon and 5K community. So if you're joining us from that community, welcome. Thank you. And so it's kind of a little yoga for athletes focus, and I usually pick a topic that will help us athletes. And if you're not an athlete, it's fine. You're going to get benefit out of it anyway. But I believe that we're all athletes in some way, shape, or form. There's inner athletes in all of us. And if you're a walker or a hiker or a runner or a cyclist, your hamstrings are most likely tight. So, and hips typically tend to get tight. So today is hips and hamstrings. And what I want you to do is I want you to walk the feet a little bit closer. So typically they're about shoulder distance, but now I want you to have your feet just a couple inches apart, say 2 or 3 inches apart. And then what I want you to do is bend the knees and straighten the legs. And if you're more flexible, bend the knees and straighten the legs. Then you're going to bring your head closer to the knees, bend the legs, straighten. So bend and straighten. Think of this as kind of a little bit of a warm-up for your hamstring stretch. Bend, straighten. So if you're so flexible, that your head easily goes to your knees, you're just going to have to lift the tailbone up and kind of pull your chest closer to your knees. A few more times. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten, and one more. Bend, straighten. Good. Now, let's roll back up. Abdomen really strong. Slowly roll back up. We're coming down. I just don't want the back to be in a forward bend too long. So arm circles here. One arm. It doesn't matter which. I'm starting with my right. Just loosen up a little bit. Good. And then left. A few rounds. Good. Side to side. I'm going to go back down to our forward bend in a second, and we're going to hug the legs. So go ahead back to the center. Take a nice big inhale. Lift the arms up. Fold down forward as you exhale. I want you to bend the knees here. So staying here. And I want you to hug the backs of your knees and grab the elbows if you can. So knees are bent to start. Grab the elbows. Now what I want you to do is start to straighten just the right leg. So if you keep the left leg bent and you straighten the right leg, it's a little bit easier. It may not straighten. It's totally fine. If it straightens easily for you, pull your chin to your knee, chin to the shin. But most likely, you'll feel that stretch in the hamstring. One more breath. And then switch. Bend the right, push the left heel down. Bend the right, straighten the left leg and breathe. Good. And then bend and straighten. So now I'm bending my left and pushing my right leg straight. So this is the second time here. Breathe, maybe a little deeper if your body allows. And bend and straighten the left. Breathe. Good, now back to the center, both knees bent. And then if you can, straighten both legs. Keep holding the elbows. So the idea is to get a deep, deep, deep stretch. And if you're so flexible, then I want you to take your arms and I want you to bring them below your calves there. Breathe. One more breath. Okay. And then release. Slowly roll up again. Abdomen strong, protecting the lower back. So just a little bit of a deeper hamstring stretch there to start. Take a big inhale, lift the arms up. Fold all the way down forward as you exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale. Step back as you exhale. Top of a push-up. Hold it here. Breathe. Abdomen strong, shoulders extend, breath smooth, thighs engaged. You can stay here if you want, or you can lower, and we'll do 5 times. Lower halfway to chaturanga, elbows, shoulders, same height. Press up, halfway, chaturanga, push up, plank. Halfway, chaturanga, push up, plank. 2 more. 1 more. Good, we'll drop the knees. Let's drop to the knees. Cat and cow tilts for the spine. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Good, and then we're gonna go side to side. So back to neutral, lift the feet side to side, shoulder and hip together, one side, shoulder and hip together, other side. Good. So now what I want you to do is some leg circles. So apparently this is called the fire hydrant. That makes sense, right? Lifting that. But what I want you to do is lift the leg up behind you. I'm starting with my left just so you can see. But either leg, doesn't matter. We're going to do both. And then open it up to the side and then bring the knee forward. Touch the arm. You don't have to touch it, but then under and back and up and turn it and under. So the idea is to keep doing that. Is to get this big range of motion. So this is a range of motion exercise, and to increase mobility and increase health in your hip socket here. So a few more times here. Notice if you feel like you are kind of, like your bones are sort of rubbing against each other. Right? Like if you feel like there's resistance deep inside the hip. If there is, you want to keep doing this, unless it causes pain. Now switch sides. Same thing, other leg. So up, open to the outside, forward, under, up, open, forward, under. Good. Notice if there's any clicking. I get some clicking once in a while. Clicking is fine as long as it's not painful. I mean, it depends, obviously, but in my experience, I had an accident when I was very young. One or two more. Good. Downward facing dog, and I jumped off a truck, and I landed on my elbow, my hip, and my knee, and it shifted my pelvis. So my pelvis is about a quarter or half inch, now it's probably less, I guess, but it's about a half inch off kilter. So it always causes my hips to click. Bend the left leg, push the right heel down. But it was painful in the beginning, like during my high school lacrosse years, but then it's no longer painful. So, I mean, I had some treatment done and had cranial sacral work done, which was amazing. So you're stretching the back of your right leg here, breathing. But anyway, so the clicking even happens today. It doesn't cause me any pain. So, and I would imagine that if there was any pain that was going to come of that, it would have come sometime in the last 35 years. So I think I'm okay. Opposite side, stretch, breathe here. Good. Straightening both legs, up on the toes, walk softly to the hands. Halfway up as you inhale, look forward, fold as you exhale, stretch. All the way up, nice big inhale. Remember, knees bent if you need to, hands together at the heart, exhale. I just like bending the knees a little, it's better on my back. Arms up, fold down, forward, especially the first few times. Halfway up, inhale, step back, exhale, vinyasa, easy way, knees first, all the way to the mat. Gentle little lift here, and then reverse it, downward facing dog. Just a couple breaths. Lifting the tailbone. As you lift the tailbone, you extend the shoulders. You're going to feel a stretch in the back of your legs, especially if you start to press the thighs back and heels down. Lift the tailbone up. One more breath. Up on the toes again. Walk or hop. Lengthen the spine as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. All the way up. Nice big inhale. Hands together at the heart. Exhale. Arms up again. Inhale. Fold down. Exhale. Extend the spine. Inhale. Step or hop back. Chaturanga. Or all the way to the mat, of course. Upward facing dog. Gently. Shoulders pulled back a little bit. Downward facing dog. And breathe. Just starting to activate here, warm up the body a little bit, wake up the muscles in this way. Creating space. All right, gravity is just going to keep on doing its thing, thankfully. Up on the toes, walk or hop. Extend the spine as you inhale, fold as you exhale. All the way up, nice big inhale. However, it has a negative effect on our body at times. Arms up, inhale. Fold down, exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale. Step or jump. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Maybe extra chaturanga. Down dog. So we have to continually work on opening, releasing, letting go. One more breath here. Down dog can be active if you're extending the shoulders, lifting the tailbone, pushing the thighs back, dropping the heels down. Don't worry about the heels. Worry more about extending the lower back and getting the hamstring stretch. Up on the toes when you're ready. Walk or hop. The heels come down, great. If they don't, great. Halfway up and fold. This time chair pose. Inhale. Holding chair, we're going to add a little twist. So bring your palms together, hook your left elbow outside the right knee. Lengthen the upper body up, turn and twist and breathe. Oh, yes. Yes. You know, that's another thing too, for those of you that are not live streaming. Those of you that are live streaming. We're in the middle of my 15-day revitalizing challenge here, and we've been talking a lot about the mind. Lengthen the upper body, turn and twist. And then back to chair and switch. And a story reminds me about lengthen the upper body, turn and twist again, breathe. When I started practicing yoga, I used to hate Pigeon Pose, literally. I would not go to class because I would be at my desk during the day working, thinking, I know that the teacher is going to put us in that pose, and he's going to put us in that pose for a long time. I just can't handle it. I just don't want to go. I'm not going to go. And I literally would skip yoga because of pigeon. Back to the center, inhale. Stand, hands together at the heart, exhale. And I'll never forget, I got to the point where I was in pigeon pose 9 months later or whatever it was. I continued to go back and suffered through it. But then I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, this feels so good. And then I thought, wait a second, how did it go from me not hating that pose to be just loving the experience of having that stretch and relaxing and all that sort of stuff? Like, what happened in there? And obviously, I know what happened. I just had the consistent practice. But it goes to show you that your mind is so powerful. And so what I want you to think about when we go through today's session is I want you to think about your mind. And when we get to a specific pose, how your mind reacts to that pose, and see if you can just maybe change it to be more supportive and beneficial and encouraging. If it's not. If it is, good for you. Ready? Chair pose. Inhale. We're going to go right into our sun salutation B. Fold down, exhale. Halfway up. Inhale. Step or jump back. Exhale. Vinyasa. Maybe extra chaturanga. Right leg first. Take it up. Bring it forward. Warrior one. Reach up. Inhale. And then hands down. Take the leg back. Vinyasa. Lower. Upward facing dog. Down dog. Left side. Take it up. Bring it forward. Remember the breath. Following the breath. Inhaling. Reaching up. Exhale, hands down, abdomen strong, lower, upward facing dog, maybe chaturanga again, down dog. So remember, we went through 3 different options in your vinyasa, all the way to the mat, halfway, or halfway with the extra chaturanga on the way back. So you choose, and every day is going to be different. Some days you might feel more energetic, ready to work harder. Other days you might need to soften and take it easy, take breaks. Up on the toes again. Walk or hop. Extend the spine as you inhale, fold as you exhale. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms, inhale. Stand, hands together at the heart, exhale. So we're just gonna do 2 more and go right into our focus today. Chair pose, inhale. Fold, exhale. Extend the spine, inhale. Step or jump back. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Down dog, right leg, take it up. And bring it forward. Warrior 1, deep bend in the front leg, stretch up. Hands down, leg back, vinyasa, lower. Upward facing dog, down dog. Left side, take it up. Bring it forward. Warrior 1, reach up, inhale. Hands down, leg back, lower. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Hold it, breathe. Good, 1 more breath. And then up on the toes again. Walk or hop forward. Extend that spine as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Chair pose from there. Inhale. Stand up, hands together at the heart. Exhale, big full breath. Back to chair when you're ready. Inhale. Fold, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Step or jump back, exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Maybe chaturanga again. Last cycle here, right leg first, take it up. Bring it forward. Warrior 1, reach up, inhale. Hands down, leg back. Vinyasa. Left side, take it up, bring it forward. Warrior 1, reach. Hands down, leg back, lower, up, and back. Very nice. Good, so right from here, right away, take the right leg up, bring it forward, turn the back foot flat, Warrior 1, and then push your front leg straight. Bring your hands to your waist, step the back foot much closer. So this is kind of the beginning foot-leg stage of reverse half moon. That's where you want to be. You want to be stable here. We're not doing reverse half moon, but this is the leg situation, right? So it's a huge difference from Warrior 1 even. Warrior 2, you got the change, and this is hips facing forward. So we're going to take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 different variations in here, going deeper each time. So if at any point it gets a little bit tricky or harder, if you happen to have blocks, then you might just have them nearby, right? Just in case, you need them for support. You don't need them, but just in case. So with your feet straight, say as below, so above, meaning your feet solid, down, legs engaged. Grab your elbows behind you first. Elbows behind you. If you're more flexible, you could do reverse namaste, what's called reverse namaste. So I bring the palms together this way, and then I flip the arms right side up that way. Push the palms together. So that's just a forearm stretch, wrist stretch, shoulder stretch. Not necessary. Now what we're going to do is go halfway down. So when I say halfway, that means you're halfway. Halfway based on the sensation. So as you start to go down, forward, remember left front leg straight, and lengthen the upper body out. This is the hamstring piece of our class today. So halfway down. So right about there for me. I feel it. It's a good stretch. It's not super intense, not super easy. I'm aware. Breathe. Give it a moment, just a few breaths, but give it a moment to really start to soften. Actually, I should time this just in case, because I try to keep us fairly even on both sides. 1 more breath, and then you're going to go down deeper You keep the arm variation or not, but I want you to go down deeper. At this point, 75, 80, 85% of your maximum. So don't quite go maximum yet, but just see how low your body allows you to go. And by the way, if you want to have a slight bend in the knee, it's totally fine. Have just a very kind of micro bend in the knee. That's fine. That'll help. Especially if you hyperextend and you sink into that knee joint, then I would say definitely bend that knee just a little bit. But a few more breaths here. One more breath. Good. Then you're going to release the arms, and then I want you to bend that front leg. Bend the front leg a lot. So you bend the front leg, and then I want you to kind of lengthen the torso. So as you lengthen the torso, I want these lower ribs to connect to your thigh. All right? So you have boobs, you got to move them over to the side, get the lower ribs, and then sink down. And then what I want you to do is wrap the arm this way. So wrap the leg. So wrap the leg like we did very early. We were wrapping both legs. Now I just want you to wrap one leg. And so your torso, lower ribs, is connected to that thigh, the top side of the leg. Don't lose that connection. Begin to straighten the leg. Most people cannot straighten the leg at this point. So I want you to hold tight. It's not about straightening the leg. It's about feeling the best possible stretch, kind of the deepest stretch you can. And just keep breathing. If you're more flexible, feel free to straighten the leg and drop the head. Breathe. Don't lose the connection between the upper body and the thigh. So that helps you just isolate the hamstrings there. A few more breaths. One more breath. Good. Now you're going to release that. So release the wrap, and then you can bend the knee for a moment. Pause, and then you're going to straighten the leg. So at this point, you could stay here and allow. So this one I want to be the deepest. So it's 4 stages. I want this to be the deepest one. So you're lengthening the torso, and then bringing your chin closer to your ankle. If you're so flexible that that's all happening, then hands back behind you, drop the head and breathe. A few more breaths. Okay, that's it. Release that, bend the knee slightly. Step what used to be your leg back, and then vinyasa. Since that's a big forward bend, I want you to lower all the way to the mat. Lower all the way to the mat, take a nice gentle back bend. Gentle cobra. Easy on the spine. Really pay attention to how it feels in your spine, low spine specifically. Not always wise to go from a deep forward bend, long, deep, 3+ minutes, 3.5 minutes in a forward bend, to then all of a sudden a big deep back bend, downward facing dog, reversing. Again, that's just awareness. Maybe for you it is. Maybe, your gymnast time made that okay. Now bend the left leg, push the right heel down. Here's where we sort of put a cap on that newfound flexibility, hopefully. So for me, some days my heels come down, some days they don't, but after that, my heel is down. So hopefully you find a little bit more space in the back of your leg. And by the way, here, when you're sinking the heel down, I also want you to tilt that sit bone up. That's still gonna get a much deeper stretch in the hamstrings. One more breath. And then lift the right leg. Bring it all the way forward. Turn the back foot flat. Come to warrior 1 first. Push the leg straight right away, hands to the waist, step the back foot closer, angle it forward. Yeah, so that was all about 3.5 minutes of a deep stretch, varying degrees on the hamstring. So it's a long time. The general consensus is that it takes us solid, 60 seconds really to just allow the muscle to kind of relax. It's more of a yin style approach. Now go ahead and grab, once you get your feet set, grab the elbows behind you again, or palms together, lift the arms up. Yeah. Take a big inhale, fold out and down, forward. Remember that slight bend, especially if you hyperextend. So I hyperextend just a little bit, kind of hard to even tell, but I can feel it in my knee joint. By locking the knee joint out, it doesn't feel like it would be wise if I did that. So I just kind of give myself a little micro bend, and now we're halfway down, not all the way down yet. And just breathe. It's kind of like lightly knocking on the door and see if it opens, and then hopefully it'll open at least a little bit. And now we can go down further to whatever, 70, 75, 80, 85%. Just not, you don't want you here maximum, right? We want to, again, just kind of gently move our way deeper. We don't want to force our way in. A few more breaths. Good. Now you're going to release the arms. Bend that front knee. Lengthen your torso. So if you lengthen, and this depends on the proportions of your body. So my torso is long enough, and my leg and hip is flexible enough where if I lengthen, I can get my lower ribs right down onto the thigh. So ultimately, that's what you want to do if you can do that. And then wrap the leg with the arms. Grab your elbows or triceps, and then start to work that leg straight. Don't worry about straightening. The goal is not straightening. The goal is getting the most out of the experience. So breathe. Relax the face, relax the jaw, stretch. And feel free to kind of push. Like, this is an active stretch for sure. So you can push into that stretch and keep breathing. In fact, let's just bend the knee a little bit, keep the arm wrapped, and then let's go back down deeper into the stretch. Sometimes just by taking that break or kind of relieving the pressure a little bit allows us to go deeper. 1 or 2 more breaths. Good, then release that. So bend the knee a little bit, just give it a little break, and straighten the leg if you can, if you're still there. And either have the hands forward, remember your blocks if you need them. If you're so flexible, then you bring the hands and turn them back. Straighten that leg, drop the head, breathe. Good, 1 more breath. Okay, and then release it. Same thing, take that leg back. Slowly lower down, all the way to the mat again. This time we're gonna do a little strengthener here. So what's called Shalabhasana or locust pose. I want you to point the toes back, interlace the fingers behind you, you're on the floor, and then I want you to lift the upper body up, lift the legs up. You could drop the chin slightly, lift the arms off and breathe. Now arms forward if you can, a few more breaths. Lift up a little taller. One more inhale. And release. Child's pose from there. Child's pose, take a few moments. And if you feel it, you can move a little side to side. Let the hips reset themselves, and femur bones and knees and ankles here. Good. Downward facing dog from there. Take your time. Down dog. Take a moment, bend the right leg this time, push your left heel down. This is kind of putting the cap on or solidifying that newfound space there. Good. And then you're going to step the feet forward, but you're going to kind of straddle the mat a little bit. So we're going to move into our hips. So first thing I want you to do, and straddling your mat, so to speak, is bring the forearms down. I'm going to set my timer. So this usually pretty easy to, but I want your positioning to be correct. So I want your knees above your ankles. All right, if you can get your knees above your ankles. And now I'm gently pushing. So for me, that means my feet are a little bit wider. So my feet are about 3 or 4 inches off the mat on each side. And then a little side to side. So a little bit of movement side to side here. Start to pay attention to the hips. Adductors. Adductors are the inner thigh muscles, groin, also referred to as the groin. Super tight. Those muscles are typically very tight for most people. So this kind of starts to help a little bit of that mobility, a little bit of the range of motion. Now, if you're so flexible in this area and you don't even feel a stretch in the inner thighs, then I want you to focus on the ankle and the low calf. Because if that's the case, I would say 98 times out of 100, you might have been a dancer or a gymnast, and you just might have more flexible hips in that way. But if you wear high heels on a regular basis, that means your low calf and Achilles is typically tight. So you can focus on that. Focus on ankle flexion also. Good. Now back to the center. Just going to stay there and push the knees wide. Push, 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 push. Right? Slight engage in the belly. Slight tuck in the tailbone as you're pushing the knees wide. Hold it here. Breathe. Good. Now come up off the thighs. Let the thighs work a little bit here. Breathe. Palms together in front of your face. Hold. We're going to do 35 more seconds. So if you're comfortable, interlace the fingers, turn the palms forward, reach the arms up, breathe. Good, 10 seconds. Keep breathing. Hang in there. 3, 2, 1. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Straighten the legs. Straighten the feet. Fold down. Grab the big toes. 2 fingers and the thumb. 2 fingers and the thumb. Big toes, kind of wrap it around there. Thumb kind of is on the front of the toes. That's kind of how you hook it. From here, lengthen the upper body as you inhale. Both legs straight. Drop the head down. Stretch. One more breath. Give it a big pull. And then release it. Now what I want you to do is just bring the heels in. So now you're about kind of half on the mat, half off the mat. At least for me, that's about the distance. So this is still not our full squat. This is still kind of a deeper one here. I want you to, if you can, feel it. Hamstrings, hips a little bit. Moving side to side. And again, I know I called this hips and hamstrings, but the truth is you could spend hours on each, more so the hips. Hamstrings are one muscle. Hips are probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different muscles, right? So right now we're working inner hip. We're going to get to outer in a moment, but a few more breaths side to side. Good. Now, come on up. Turn the feet straight if you can, or almost straight, slightly turned out. I don't want you to hurt the knees at all. If you feel any kind of negativity in the knees, then turn the feet out a little bit more. But if you can, feet are about shoulder distance, squatting down into what's called Malasana. Remember, we're not going to do it today, but ultimately, get comfortable for 3 minutes here. Just being comfortable and hanging out, eating lunch, playing craps on the floor, dice. This is where most of the world lives, right? This is where most of the world does business. The time I was in India, there were kids playing dice, or I don't know what game they were playing some game, but they were all sitting like this, super comfortable, playing, just kind of hanging out, doing their thing. I know most people that come through yoga, they're like, I'm gonna break. Not everybody, but some. So if you're one of the people who feel like they might break because of this pose, then we got work to do. It's okay, we just have work to do. Good, so from here, we're gonna do a little crow. If you want, you could stay here and breathe. Otherwise, crow, just one time, a little arm balance. For those of you that feel like you want a bigger challenge, Wednesday is gonna be a big arm balance day, by the way. But if you feel like you want a bigger extras, kind of super extra credit challenge, come up on your fingertips and then move in to crow like that. Not for everyone, definitely not for everyone, but it's kind of a fun little thing. If you did crow, you can step back or hop back. If you're still in your squat, you can come back. And again, that was a big forward bend. So all the way to the mat again. Sphinx pose, another little slightly different back bend. I want you to come up on the elbows here. You can still move into the hips. Good, but Sphinx, elbows are down, elbows are below the shoulders. I want you to kind of lift up. If you don't feel that, you're gonna pull forward, pull the heart center forward by kind of using your arms to pull back, and then up and breathe. Any of these back bends, I want you to notice where you feel it, and then I want you to see if you can move even just a little bit and feel it more in areas you're not feeling it. For instance, feel it in the lower back, kind of lower thoracic spine. Well, how can I get it to the upper spine? So lift a little bit more and pull a little bit more forward and breathe. Last couple breaths. All while staying relaxed. So you don't want to force. This is not like, 1980s gym workout, right? This is not about forcing. This is about gracefully, elegantly, expanding and evolving. Take one more inhale and then release. Child's pose. Child's pose again. And in that graceful evolution, we find strength, flexibility, suppleness, calmness, peace, tranquility. All right, downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we're just going to step the right leg forward. Right leg forward, drop the back knee. If you needed extra cushion, you could take the outside of your mat. You could roll it over. You could take a blanket and do that. Let me just check our timing here. Okay, so we got 3 minutes on each side here. This is what we call a three-pronged hip stretch. So first the lunge, ready, set, go. We'll go about 30, 45 seconds here. So I want you to sink forward and breathe. Stretching that front side hip flexor, your upper quad a little bit, part of your quadricep. Those 4 quads have names. One is erectus femoris, which comes up above. It's part of your hip flexor. So one of the quads is a hip flexor, as well as the psoas muscle, which is deep inside, which is also a hip flexor. I was teaching on the hike, teaching Madison names of bones. She's gonna be the only kid that gets to kindergarten who goes, Oh, that's your humerus bone. Huh, interesting. Go ahead and take the left arm up. And lean back a little bit. A few breaths. And as you lift up and lean back here, I want you to lean to the midline. Feel that on the front side. So that changes the game. So if you sink down and just go up and back, that's one thing. But then if you lean a little over to the midline, it changes that stretch a little bit. Breathe. One more breath. That's it. Come on down. Now we're going to do Pigeon Prep. So you can take this foot to the middle of your mat, roll onto the outside of the foot, and then scoot the back knee back, lengthen the upper body up. Ooh, sink in here. So now you're getting kind of hamstrings, outer hips a little bit. Not long here. A few breaths, let's say 30 seconds or so. Just in case you're not an anatomy person, your humerus bone is the bone from your shoulder to your elbow. One more breath. You won't be tested on that. And then take this back into pigeon. So regular pigeon pose. Here, and breathe. About a minute in pigeon. And of course, if you needed reclining pigeon, that's absolutely fine. Reclining pigeon is good. Just gonna reset this up here for you guys. There we go. Yeah, I guess there's really no benefit to knowing the names of the bones unless you're interested in that kind of thing. But one thing that I was taught, the bones in between the knuckles. So if you look at your hand, you got your knuckle, and then the middle of the finger is another knuckle, and then there's another knuckle sort of toward the end of the finger. So if you bent your index finger and you look at it, there's 1, 2, 3 bones in that finger, and 3 bones in your middle finger, and 3 bones in your ring. Only 2 bones in the thumb. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 28 bones in the hands, besides your metacarpal bones. So there are more. And then that brings us to 56 if the same thing happens in the feet, right? Those little tiny bones are called phalanges. That's a fun word to say, phalanges. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. Just take one more nice big breath, sink in deep. And then we're going to switch it. Downward facing dog. And take a moment. Let's revisit our hamstrings. How's that going? Bend the left leg, push the right heel down, lift the right sit bone up. We got some space in there, I hope. Good. Left leg forward. Drop the right knee. Cushion or not, you can add that extra cushion on the back knee if you want. Sink forward here first. Breathe. Yeah, I didn't know what my metacarpal bones were until I broke my 4th metacarpal bone because I was drunk in New York City circa 1989, probably 88, 89, thinking I was a super strong teenager, and I came out of this bar and I was like, I don't know how we got into this conversation. So silly, stupid dude thing to do. I was like, yeah, you could totally break a car window with your fist. So I tried to break a car window and I totally busted my hand. Oh, it's horrible. Not one of my finer moments. Lift the upper body up, lean back, and breathe. I'll tell you though, if it weren't for moments like that, I'm so grateful to be who I am today. And sometimes it's darkest before the dawn, right? So if it weren't for moments like that, I wouldn't be who I am today. Lift up now, go to the midline. So lean over a little bit and breathe. One more breath. Good. And then come forward. Now we do our pigeon prep. So you walk this foot over a little bit. Drop the knee to the outside. Scoot the back knee back further. About 30 seconds in this. Hip stretch here. You're kind of more inner hamstrings, outer thigh. It's funny, Jeremy, you're in New York. I think I was at the Art Bar in the Lower West Side. The Art Bar still exists? Anybody else in New York? I think it probably does still exist. This has been there forever. Oh, the things we did when we were young. A few more breaths. Some people are still doing those things in their adult life. Good. Now, go ahead down into pigeon pose from here. Spend about a minute and a half. And just pause, relax, breathe. Let's go back into our mind, back into our witness. Understanding that there's you experiencing this pose at the moment, wherever you are in your world. And then there's part of you that understands that there's you, and that part ultimately, the witness is really the I guess depending on what you believe, the God self, or that place that's connected with something greater. So when your body is finished and you, as you dies, the way I think of it is that we're all kind of fingers on a hand. So if you look at your hand right now, I'm in the form of a pinky finger, and you might be in the form of a ring finger. And then eventually that pinky finger goes back into the hand, circles around a little bit, and then it comes back out as the form of an index finger. And it's all just this beautiful, organic flow of energy. And, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, I don't think I'm going to remember my next evolution, but I do think it's just energy. So people come, people go, things come, things go. It's all kind of this movement, right? Tides come, tides go, right? It's a similar kind of thing. And so what this philosophy for me anyway, come on up. Let's go back and straighten our leg down dog for a second, and then we're going to wrap it up. Bend the right leg, push the left heel down, stretch. Well, that kind of thinking allows me to embody, essentially, is just a little bit less anxiety. I have less anxiety because I trust in the universe. I trust in the process, and I think that's really important. Shake out the legs, flex the feet back, reach the arms up, fold. And I know that's different for everybody. So if you have a certain religion that you practice, and there might be other different ways to understand that. But for me, that's kind of how I what I believe is that we're all just energy, kind of moving along. And back in my days of 12 steps, I used to say everyone is just God in drag, which I loved, because we are all really connected, and so we're all representations. And so these messages that you get from life in general really are exactly what we need at the time. Go ahead and if you're going to go back, roll up, roll back, take the legs up and over. You don't have to, you can stay in the forward bend. That would be fine too. But breathe. Take the legs up. Legs wide from there, flex the feet, few breaths. Bend the legs, soles of the feet together. Another breath. Legs up from there, and then down over the head. Slowly. Come on down. We'll do our final twist, and then Shavasana. So pull the right knee in, roll to the left side. Easy twist. Good. Switch it. Other side, same thing. Left leg in, give it a squeeze. Roll over to your right. A few breaths. Back to the center, Shavasana, final rest. Just a couple of minutes here, eyes closed, nice deep breath. Just allow yourself to fall deep into a state of relaxation here. Okay, go ahead and bring your left hand to your heart center, right hand to the belly. Pause for a moment. And then bend the knees, roll to your right side. Then make your way up to a seat. Comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Palms up. Eyes closed, a couple breaths. And this sense of peace and calmness and tranquility and connectedness, it's really where we want to have our base. So oftentimes we have stressful jobs or stressful relationships or stressful experiences, and they pull us out of this peaceful place. And that's fine, as long as we know how to get back, right? Where life is going to throw us all kinds of unexpected things that are going to throw us off balance or have to make us duck and dive. And as long as we have this base to come back to, then it's okay. It doesn't matter what comes our way. We'll be able to handle it, and if we can't, we'll be able to search and seek, find some help, and then we can, help each other, and then we can come back here. And that's the idea. Go ahead and bring the palms together at the heart. take a moment of gratitude for every breath. Namaste. Namaste, friends. Thank you very much. If you are streaming with us live on one of the channels there, I didn't make the announcement, but these classes are done on a donation basis. So if you have the financial resources, then you can pay for your class. That would be fantastic. You can go to 5pointyoga.com, which is this yoga studio's website. There's a few different ways to do that. You can scroll down. If you wanted to just become a monthly member, you can do that at consciousendurance.com. And then it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about paying for each class. You can just sign up for a monthly membership. There's about 4 different ones, and then you're all set. Thank you very much, and I'll see you live streamers back here on Wednesday.